Hi, I'm Mark Plunkett. I'm the pastor of Heritage Presbyterian Church. This is our Monday motivation for September 21st, 2020. Now, what's going on in this picture? Well, it shows a kid with his hand on an old-fashioned automatic cigarette lighter, and he's holding his hand up. And what he's doing is, when he presses the button, if the cigarette lighter lights on the first try, that means he gets his wish. And what he always wishes for is, I wish I had $1 million. This is the scene from It's a Wonderful Life starring Jimmy Stewart. And this kid is supposed to be Jimmy Stewart when he was a young man. And of course, if you've ever watched the movie, you know that it's just a thing that Jimmy Stewart does every time he's in this particular store. And he even does it as an adult. And it's kind of whimsical. It kind of makes us think, wow, what would I do if I had $1 million? Or what would I do if I had a lot of money? Or what would I do if I were rich? That's always a fun thought for kids and even some adults to have. But here's the problem. Jesus once remarked, it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Jesus did not say that money or wealth makes you sin. He didn't say that at all. And it's often misquoted from the Bible. It's the love of money that is the root of all evil, not money itself. But still, it's a tough thing. And I think today, rather than talking about what I would do if I were a rich man, if I had $1 million, as a matter of fact, let's jack it up a little bit. Let's say billions of dollars. There are people out there, in fact, there seem to be a lot of them, that have $1 billion these days. That's an obscene amount of money for one person to have. But I don't begrudge anybody money when they've earned it themselves. But here's how I'm going to start this off. I'm going to talk about what I would not do if I had that kind of money. There's two things that come to mind. The first thing, I heard the other day that a billionaire was going to spend millions and millions of dollars, was pledging it, to defeat a particular candidate. Now, I might agree with him or I might disagree with him, but I actually disagree with the whole premise. I wouldn't give a single dime to any politician, including any that I actually liked. I just wouldn't do it. I think if people are going to be elected, money should not be that important. It ought to be let's say $100, limited to each person. Corporations should be barred from getting into it by law. And if they do it, their board of directors ought to go to jail. I also think that those politicians, they get those huge war chests, they always call it, like they're going to war. You know, those war chests of money, they should be forbidden from spending them on anything that involves themselves. Instead, it should go back to general funds that would then fund political candidates. So I would not give a single dime to any political candidate, including any that I like. And number two, and this one sounds kind of weird, I wouldn't tell a soul. Somehow I would figure out a way to keep it quiet. Maybe I would set up a secret foundation and I would have some people between me and the folks that I was going to help or the causes that I was going to help. And I would simply say, now we're going to give X amount of money to this corporation or this organization or this thing, whoever it was that was doing some good, that was helping people. And I know several organizations that always need money that are really, truly helping people. I would find those organizations. I would make sure that I found out a way to give them a lot of money. If it was a small church that was making a difference, especially if it was a small charity of some kind that was making a difference, and there are a bunch of them, I would find them, and they would never know that it was me. And I would give them money until they could finally get done everything they wanted to do. And I would keep close tabs on it. And maybe I would even have some stipulations. Okay, I'm going to give you this amount of money. I'm going to give it to you for this many years, but here's how you have to spend it. I wouldn't tie their hands. I would free them. Or like you'd have to spend it on children's education, or you'd have to spend it on feeding the poor. I mean, that's pretty broad. That's the kind of thing I would spend a lot of money on. I would not go around bragging how much money I had or letting anybody know. So that's the end of my first part. If you check in with us on Wednesday, I'll tell you the second part. Amen.